Hello everybody and welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about something pretty interesting. We're going to talk about the difference between agates and carnelian. Now, rock hounds in the rock hounding community kind of have disagreements about this and what really makes an agate and what really makes a carnelian. They're both very similar, but my goal is by the end of this video, you will know exactly the difference between carnelian and agate. So let's get started. So first, let's talk about what exactly carnelian is, and then we'll talk a little bit about what an agate is and some of their differences. So here I have a few different samples of carnelian. Now, as you can see, carnelian does look very similar to agate. You can see that translucency. You can also see the waxy luster. Carnelian is a type of silica, and it's considered a semi-precious gemstone. Carnelian can come in a couple of different colors. So they can come in this kind of deep reddish color, and they can come in more of like a rusty amber color. You can also see that carnelian also has conchoidal fracturing. However, what's a little bit different is that sometimes it fractures off in more jagged edges, and it ends up being a little bit more sharp. Carnelian also can have bands in it. When carnelian has bands, it's considered a carnelian agate. There's some other small features that make carnelian different from agate as well, but they're often so small that they can usually be overlooked. Oftentimes, carnelian can look so similar to agate that you really can't tell much of a difference, and the only hints that you have to tell the difference between the two is banding. Now let's take a look at my favorite rock, which is agates, of course. Now, one thing that's different between agates and carnelian is agates are usually a bit more rigid and carnelian are a bit more delicate of a stone. As you can see, agates also have a deeper color to them. Typically, carnelians have more of a light coloring and agates have more of a deeper, richer coloring. You can really see that in stones like this where it has like a deep red color. There are light agates as well. As you can see here, this one is a banded agate. You can tell that this isn't carnelian because it is banded, and it's not that typical amberish color. Whereas when you look at something like this, it almost looks like a piece of amber. Agates are also typically harder than carnelian, and they fracture slightly differently. Though they can share similarities in their conchoidal fracturing, oftentimes carnelian fractures a bit more harshly as opposed to agates that fracture a little bit more smooth. So to summarize, if you're trying to tell the difference between an agate and a carnelian, look for banding. The most defining characteristic of an agate is banding. If you find banding, you most likely are going to have an agate. There are some things that might trip you up though, because sometimes you will find things like banded shirt, banded jaspers, things like that. And that's where you have to look for the translucency of the rocks. If it's banded and it's also translucent, you most likely have an agate. Remember, translucency is if you're able to see light through it. Now, carnelian also is translucent, so you're able to see light through it, but they typically don't have banding, and if they do, they're considered a carnelian agate. There are some times where you will find a banded agate that is not translucent. So translucency doesn't always mean that it's going to be an agate, but it most likely will have translucency. For example, this rock here is a paint agate. It's one of my favorite agates that I've ever found. And this one actually doesn't have any translucency, but I know clearly it is an agate because of all of the beautiful bands. So hopefully that video helped you out, and now you know the difference between carnelian and agate. Either way, I think both rocks are beautiful, and if you happen to find one, I think you're pretty lucky. If you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you like content like this, consider subscribing to my channel. I make new videos every week, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!